Yeah.
This is the business that 100% is meant for me.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Get Wealth podcast. Super excited for this episode today. I have Jonah Korchin with us. He's a real estate entrepreneur, investor, social media, real estate entrepreneur, doing a lot of cool stuff, agent outreach expert. So I think there's definitely a lot of value to extract from this episode, and I'm excited to get inside your brain and see what topics we can get into. So thanks for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, no worries. I'm happy to be here.
So let's start off with, how'd you get into real estate? What was your first deal, and where did that turn into now?
Wow, those are a lot of different questions.
I know. Okay, but just
how did I get into real estate?
Boil it down just to like the entry story. How'd you get into it?
Yeah, so how I got into real estate, I was in the Peace Corps. I had just come back from the Peace Corps, and I was kind of lost for about 6 months or so, just kind of not sure what I should do, where I should go, what is my next step in my real estate journey, or just in my journey in general. And then I had always had an entrepreneurial drive, just always something that was within me, like just something that I did. I was looking at stocks, I was looking at real estate, I was looking at all sorts of stuff. And then I came across real estate wholesaling. That's where I really started like being like, oh, this is the one. It's not garage sailing like Gary Vee. That's not it. It's wholesaling, right?
Yeah.
This is the business that 100% is meant for me. It's all it is building relationships with sellers. That's what I thought at the time. I thought you had to go direct to sellers. So all it is building relationships with sellers and then convincing them to sell you their house and then selling that house, right? That is just relationship. There's no inventory. It's super simple. I don't need to create a product. Real estate is the product, and it's a product that's been there for thousands of years. I just knew it was the right way to go. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to start wholesaling real estate because this is it easily makes the most amount of sense for starting in real estate. And then also it's just like perfect for me. Like as a person, I'm really good at relating to people. So I just knew that would just be the perfect thing. Right. Yeah. So did that, or I found that out at a meetup, met up with a random wholesaler. It was really nice. I would never do this for anyone, but he was really nice because he let me buy him lunch and pick his brain about how it all works. Right. And so, man, I forgot that guy's name. I should try to find him. I don't even know. That was so long ago. That was like literally 3 years ago now. And I don't think we ever ended up doing a deal. I don't think there was anything after that lunch, but he just showed me everything I needed to get started. Now I'm like, wow, perfect. Now I'm going to do it. And then I did it. It went about a month or two before I kind of saw an ad on YouTube by a guy named Josiah Grimes. He is the CEO of Keegley, or was the CEO of Keegley. Jamil Damji is not the CEO of Keegley. People think he is, but he's not. He is something else, right? And he actually wasn't part of Astro yet. I joined this program called Astro Flipping based off of that ad. And then within 3 months of joining that, I do my first deal. It was a direct to seller deal. I was cold calling a lot in the Bay Area. And it was just this really small condo in Antioch, California. For anyone in the Bay Area knows that's a shithole. Basically, I don't know if I can swear on here, but it's really like not a nice part of the Bay Area. It's like a 1,000 square feet, only 200. I think I got it for 180 and sold it for 190. Made 10K, and that was basically my first deal. I mean, there was a lot of headaches in that when I was trying to dispo it. I had to see it 2 or 3 times. I had a buyer back out who told me they were going to deposit EMD, and then they didn't. It was a rough one, but we got it. I also had like the advice of someone who didn't know what they were doing, and it was all over bad because of that.
Yeah.
But we made it happen.
Nice.
So
And
yeah, those are the answers to your questions, I think.
yeah, and then how did that turn into your business now? Because from what I can tell, you're doing a bunch of deals. I mean, how many deals would you say you've done at this point?
How many deals have I done? I've actually probably only done like 50, which is low for how long I've been in it. It's because I've done a lot of I do a lot of big deals, right? Because I do it in the Bay Area, right? I've probably only done like 50 deals, but like some of them were like 100K plus deals or
Well,
60K
I mean, you're
plus
saying
because it's Bay
50.
Area or Northern California.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of deals. I've done 12 deals, and it's like, to me, that changed
But
so
how long have
much
you
for
been
me.
in it? How long have you been in it?
About 2 years about. So, and
Yeah.
I'm not full time. I'm
So
a
yeah,
full time flight instructor. So I teach
there you
people
go.
fly airplanes. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's not an easy thing to just do 50 deals, right? It's like there's a lot of processes and systems, and to
True.
me, it's like if someone does one deal, that can change everything for them, right? So to me,
Oh
that's like a
yeah.
full scaled
I
business
mean,
right
I
there.
still have up there, I still have the check for my first deal. I knew I would want that. So I have the original check that's still framed up on my wall. I don't think I can show you, but it's up there. That changed everything. That changed my entire life. That was the most amount of money I'd ever made. I had graduated from college, went into the Peace Corps, which doesn't pay anything. And then
Mm-hmm.
I went into real estate and made 10K, which was like double the amount of money I'd ever made in my entire life up to that point. Probably had made 5K up to that point in my entire life.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like one of those started really broke, definitely hustler type of kid. And here we are now.
Okay. So you did astro flipping. From my understanding of that, it's really based off of the agent relationship. Is that correct, or am I off there?
Yeah, so continuing in my story, I did direct to seller. I tried to do both at the same time my first year.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I got that 10K deal. And then I immediately joined Sub 2, which is another amazing master or program. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like a leader in both of them. I'm glad I did that because they're both freaking awesome, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I uh I took the money and bought that course mentorship. Then I went into and then I didn't get a deal for like 8 months, 9 months, because I was trying to do agent outreach and direct to seller at the same time, right? You have to choose one to the audience. You got to choose between direct to agent and direct to seller or micro flipping or whatever it might be. They're different business models completely, right? So I now only do agent outreach because I had spent all my money at this point, and I'm like, well, I got to choose the free method now. And so I ended up doing agent outreach, right? And here we are today. I only do agent outreach. I know how to talk to sellers. I made like 160K in my direct to seller business, right? Before I shut it down. And I bought sub twos direct to seller, and I bought a bunch of things direct to seller. I've done cash deals direct to seller. I just specialize in agent outreach.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay. So I know the Jerry Norton YouTube videos. I mean, it's all like make an offer and then build the relationship. What does that look like? Agent outreach. Can you explain that a little bit for the audience?
Like how you build that relationship
Really
is what
more
you
of the
mean?
strategy as like a marketing channel. So is it a process of making an offer on a property and then connecting with that realtor? Are you just calling lists of realtors? Are you,
So I
yeah.
basically, how I do my outreach is I use a system called Zapier. It's actually a personal one that I own. It's based off Go High Level, which a bunch of different ones you might have heard of are based off of Astro Blaster, REI Reply. They're all based off Go High Level, which is like the best system ever, I think.
Hmm,
In
okay.
real estate, I think it's the best CRM. I just think it just outclasses everything else. And so that's the one I use. So what it does is it automatically sends out texts whenever you want it. You can set it up however you want it to be to automatically send out text. And so I do texting outreach to lists of realtors I get from all sorts of places. Brokerage lists. So like you can go on brokerage websites like compass.com and get lists that way of agents' phone numbers. You can take their phone number, manually write it into an Excel file sheet and upload it. You can go on Facebook, go join agent Facebook groups, get their numbers on there. You can buy certain lists. There are certain lists that Pace and Jamil just gave us of agents. They just gave it to us. So we're like, all right, cool. That's awesome. And how else do I do it? Privy. I just met a guy who's a coder who made a Privy scraper. So basically you can scrape off all the MLS data and get agent phone numbers that way. And then PropStream too. PropStream like will let you download it. If you can click on markets, download all the on markets in your area, and then download all the phone numbers from the agents there. So you just get lists of agent phone numbers. I have a texting script that I give out that I'll give to anybody who follows me on Instagram and follows me on YouTube. I'll give you the texting script for free that I personally use in my business. You send out a 3-pronged text, you get them to respond, you get on the phone. You then get on the phone and you do an intro call. And this is like really important to start it off. There's four parts for a good intro call to an agent. One is introduce yourself. 2 is what I call my tool in the tool belt line, where basically you're like, Mr. Agent, here's what I do. I solve sellers' problems. It's what I do better than anybody else. If you ever come across one where the seller is about to be foreclosed on, or there are tax liens, or whatever there might be, I want to be a tool in your tool belt that you use to solve that problem and get you your commission, right? That's number 2. And number 3 is, do you know of anything like that right now? They tell you if they know anything like that. They might not understand. You might have to talk to them a little bit more. And the 4th part that's successful is you say, no matter how the call ended, be like, hey, thank you so much for taking a call. I really appreciate you. I cannot wait to get a deal with you. And that's the 4 parts to a good intro call. And then you follow up with them every other week. If they haven't responded in like 2 weeks, you follow up every other month. But you just follow up. The system automatically does it. And you just do that until they send you a deal. And you do that with a couple thousand agents. And then you have a business.
Whoa. Okay. And I'm always interested in like KPIs. So would you say that because with direct to seller, I mean, those numbers are out there for how many leads it takes to get a deal sort of thing. What are the numbers like of agent intro calls to deal conversions? Like how many people do you got to talk to and for how long?
50 conversations a day. If you're able to get in 50 conversations a day, no matter how bad you are, you will be able to get 1 deal a month. You could, if you talk to 50 agents, whether you're talking to that, whether they hate you, whether they dislike you, you get into 50 conversations a day, you will get a deal a month at least, right? And this is if you suck at it. My team is now probably my best salesperson. I think she's probably at like, she's probably at like 180 for a deal. She gets a deal a week now, right? Because she's able to have 180 conversations or so a week, right? So it just depends. It depends on your market. It depends on what you're doing. But like she's right now the best salesperson. She's hitting about a deal a week, and she's having about 180 conversations with realtors throughout a week, 30 a day. And that's because of the way that she does it. Usually it's really hard to 50 conversations unless you're cold calling them.
Yeah.
As texting is usually more like 30, but what you've done is you've already filtered out a lot of those. Probably 20 of those conversations with cold calling are just like a fuck you, right? So it's a different type of conversation. They're warmer leads, you know. Yeah. But that's about where we're at right now with her. She's hitting about 30 conversations a day. that equals about a deal a week. That's
Yeah.
the best salesperson I've got.
That's so cool, man. Okay. And I do agent follow up. I do direct to seller and cold call lists, kind of like the boilerplate method of wholesaling. But I also I just have a kind of a rule of thumb of trying to make 10 offers a day. And so if I don't get to do that within my pipeline of my normal leads that are coming from my off market, I'll just go on market and make offers to agents and try to save their info and follow up that way. And I've had some success, nothing that's realized into actual money yet, but agents will send me leads. And a lot of those leads, the sellers are still just like a normal seller where they're too high on price and there's not like enough motivation. Do you find that like when a realtor does send you a lead, that it's how motivated usually are those leads?
Probably like 70% of the time they're not motivated, probably say.
Okay.
That's a guess. That's not something I track, but like
Right,
I
just like a
probably say a
feeling.
lot of times they'll send me something that's, yeah, like maybe it's a cosmetic fixer and then they just tell me they're only selling it because they're moving. And then I'm like, that's not what I'm looking for. Let me remind you what I'm looking for. I'm looking for sellers with prop, and it's going to take a few times to get it in their head that that's what you're looking for, right? But once they get that in their head, then they send you the really bad ones, and really bad ones are where money is. That's where money exists for us as wholesalers, real estate investors, everything. It's all about the motivation of the seller. That's what it all comes down to. I think people who do agent outreach don't internalize that much. While direct to seller, people really internalize it a lot. But I think in direct to agent, they don't for some reason. They don't even know what the motivation of the seller is. And I'm like, what are you doing? How are you even doing this? I don't even put in offers on those ones. Right. I tell my acts like, don't worry, just try to put in 3 verbal offers, but like on actual properties that could be a deal. Right. Like I don't want you putting in stupid offers, comping things that just obviously are not going to be a deal. There's no point. So I say 3 for my guys, 3 a day.
Do you find that real estate agents have a hard time grasping the concept of working with a wholesaler because it's just different than the normal, they list a property for somebody and they're like a buyer or seller's agent? Like how do you incorporate that into their business where it's like they feel comfortable with how they're getting paid and it makes sense to them? Do you ever have to break it down for them? And does that come up often?
Well, we're real estate investors. I kind of like, I think most people need to change their ideas of like them being only wholesalers. There's a price you would flip a house. If I sold you a house for $1, you'd flip the house, right? You buy it and then immediately sell it, right?
Right.
So you're a real estate investor because you're buying and selling houses. You're doing that. You're either doing buying or selling houses, or you're going through, you're more than just a wholesaler, first off, right? Secondly, so because of that, you're a real estate investor that's working with agents. Wholesaling is just an exit strategy. It's not who you are. It's not your job title. And so because of that, I don't know why they'd be any less willing to work with you than a fix and flipper, somebody who only fix and flips, or somebody who only buys and holds, right? The only reason would be is because they've had a bad relationship with bad wholesalers who have been constantly breaking contracts and stuff, right? And gives us a bad name because they don't know what they're doing, right? Yeah. So that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, that makes sense. And in that sense, are they getting like a 3% commission on the deal then? And are they?
It depends where they are, but usually, I mean, if they have a listing agreement, they get their 3%. If they're the listing agent too, I give them the full commission. I give them 6%, right? They get both sides, right? Because there's for people who don't know, in real estate, there's a buyer side commission and then there's a seller side commission. So you can give a real estate agent both sides of the commission, which is a huge bonus. You just doubled their pay by going directly to the listing agent on a deal, right? So they're pretty motivated to go with you usually, but yeah.
Yeah, it can be a huge opportunity for an agent if they plug into the right system, because just by your business, you can make them a lot of money. Do you find that once a realtor knows that you're legit and are there to help them and that it's a win-win scenario, that they keep sending you deals? Or is it like a new age agent often, or what does that look like?
Yeah. I mean, we're working on agent retention. I would say that's the thing that is going to take us to the next level. I have like two that I consider like my favorite, my two that like I really am their guy. My acquisition managers are a little too new to have that yet, but once that starts building, that's when you really start seeing a lot of progress. A lot of progress, right? So there's probably two that give me like 10K a year. So that's 20K passive every single year, right? I mean, think about how much real estate you have to own for that. It's a lot. You gotta own like $1 million worth. You gotta own like $500,000 worth of real estate free and clear, probably, to have like that much cash flow. Maybe even no, way more than that. I'm sorry. That's like one house or two houses. You're probably gonna need a couple of houses. Probably gonna need like 10 million. I don't even know. You need a lot of real estate.
Yeah, it depends on the market, right? Because if you're in like Indiana, you could probably buy 20 houses and I mean, that's still going to add up, but that would probably be the cash. Yeah.
That would be like 4K. You're probably cash flowing like 200 to $400 each house. So like,
yeah. That's one realization that I've had about real estate or finance or money. It's like you get sold this dream of passive income and own rental properties and just live off the rents. But like really all it is just money in. Like it's not about how much passive it is. It's like if you can set up a business, a wholesale business that you have to spend a couple hours a week on and it's bringing you in 100K a month, I'd take that any day over than a portfolio of companies that's, has toilets and things that are fixed. I think the upside with owning the stuff is the equity and the tax depreciations, right?
You want both. Is what you really want, right? You only own a wholesale business and you're getting 100K a year, right? Government's going to take 30K of that. Yeah. You only own real estate, then you're probably not making, it's going to take you a while to make enough to make like 100K even a year. That's going to take you a long time. Yeah. If you have both, then not only do you have 100K a year, you have it tax-free plus some extra money, right? So having both a wholesaling, you want an active business. If you're an entrepreneur, you want an active business and real estate. You want real estate. You want real estate, in my opinion, for me, it's obviously wealth building is good. It's good to have a good high net worth. Also, the tax benefits are way better than the cash flow. People don't even calculate the tax benefits, like how much less I'm paying taxes. Because I'm about to own 2 or 3 houses. I own one right now. I'm about to own another one and hopefully another one after that. Those houses, I mean, a $600,000 house, if you calculate it out, that's going to save me 15K a year in taxes or something like that, which is crazy. Like I'm going to be able to keep so much more of my money just from owning the real estate. So what you really need is both in the end. Wholesaling, owning a business always will make you richer. All billionaires, the richest in the world, own businesses. They don't own real estate. That is not the vast majority of their portfolios. The vast majority of billionaires' portfolios are businesses, not real estate. You got to remember that. Business is always going to make you way more overall money.
Yeah, I totally
real
agree.
Estate is just kind of nice. Real estate is just kind of boring and nice and just keeps you calm in the sense like, okay, no matter what, if everything goes to hell, I'll always have 3,000. I always have 5K coming in a month or something. I don't know, whatever you got, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's really true. And like what it comes down to is like, because people want to try to invest before they've have any sort of income. I think that's another misconception is it's like, okay, I need to buy the rental property now. I need to start maxing out my Roth IRA and getting these 8% returns. And I'm going to chip away at that for 60 years and then I'll retire. But it's like, no. You can find something like wholesaling, give all of your time to it for like 5 years, and then parlay all of that into the other stuff. The income, money in first, and then the back end stuff. That's how you keep it. That's kind of the way I look at it.
Exactly. I 100% agree. And also like, even if it's not wholesaling, I mean, wholesaling depends on your personality, right? Sometimes it could just be even just like, God, even with starting a lending business, you can just do so much better than 8% in real estate, just lending to me. I give minimum 10% to all my investors, minimum.
Yeah.
Right? Depending on the project, I'll give them more, so it completely depends. But in the end, what's going to make you rich is a business. What's going to make you wealthy is real estate, but what's going to make you rich is a business. And that if you actually own a real business, which means like I could leave, I don't own a real business yet. I consider owning a real business is I could walk out tomorrow, leave for a month, and it's still giving me a check every single month. I'm not quite there yet. I don't have enough managers I'm the only manager. So I still am building up the revenue streams. I'm trying to get the salespeople really going where we got to be hitting at least 100K a month, which we're not quite yet. Once we're hitting 100K a month, then I can feel comfortable hiring managers and stuff, but we're not quite there yet.
Yeah, I like that. At what point did you make your first hire?
I made my first hire about a year and a half in. I made it about a year in, and then he was my administrative assistant. He was like he literally just was my admin. He was my assistant. He helped me just with random stuff that kept coming up, right? So that was my first hire. I did about a year later. It was just a VA. I paid him really well. I paid him like $8 an hour, which I realize is overpaying now. But that was my first hire.
Yeah, I got I had an obstacle to overcome because I hired VAs too soon. I did it through Start Virtually, and I found that the velocity of my money wasn't quick enough in order to realize some of the work that the VAs were doing in order to keep paying them. Like I kind of had like 3 months of operating expenses with VAs, and then I wasn't calling as much. And so there's obviously going to be a dip in the efficiency, and we didn't close a deal in time. And I just kind of, light fell there. It just kind of burnt out. So that's one thing I had to learn the hard way. And then now I have commission-based cold callers, and I figure I can give a little bit more of the pie now and not have to have the operating expense, and they're stateside. So I think the efficiency goes up quite a bit there as far as like talking to people and stuff, and it feels more like a team. And then my plan would be to take them once they're really good on the phone, and then just parlay them into lead managers when we bring on an actual VA. That's kind of my thought process of how to build it out. But I mean, it's kind of, it's a process. So I haven't quite gotten to that phase yet. But yeah, I'm just always curious.
The answer that I generally give is, do you have 6 months of their salary in your bank account? If so, you're ready to hire. In my opinion, that's generally how I view it.
Yeah.
If you don't, then don't, right? All commission people is always nice because they're all commission, so they don't get paid until they actually do something. But it's definitely something to keep in mind.
It's also a new skill set, right? Like how has that been for you, turning into more of like an operator or a leader for other people? It's not just you in the business.
Oh, it's a whole different ball game. Really? I've been doing sales forever, since I was like 16. I've been doing something sort of sales related. Being a manager, I've never been in my entire life until now, right? So it's a hugely different skill. I just had to read a ton of books on it and ask my mentors how to do it right. And then I sort of learned, and I'm pretty good at it now, I'd say. There are a few things I learned on the way that I wish I just knew earlier, but I'm learning as it happens, what I really need to do. I've been reading this book. It's about how sales managers really are really good sales managers are coaches. And so coaching your salespeople is what you really need to do. You need to be doing one-on-ones. You need to be coaching them, which is very different than just training them.
Yeah.
Training is like the general, here's what everyone needs to know. And then there's coaching, which is like, here's specifically how you're screwing up or how you're doing well, right? So
yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Now I've seen you be a lot more active on social media. I saw you were doing, I don't know if it's a challenge, but you're posting a whole bunch, creating a lot of content. How have you used social media in your business, and what has the upside of that been for you?
oh, it's insane. I mean, it gives you so many opportunities just in general. I've had private money lenders come to me out of nowhere. I've had people send me deals out of nowhere. People who just see you as an authority if you're giving advice as an authority, going on podcasts like this one. I will say yes to any podcast damn near, because right now, like, I can use this afterwards and use it for content, right? And it's always a good time, so meeting people and like meeting people in person and stuff. So I just get more of everything I need, right? I'm going to do a story about I need an acquisition manager. I guarantee you I'll get a couple applications from that, whatever I need in my business, because I'm known. Even at my level, guys, I'm not that popular. I got like 2,563 followers or something like that. But I still get a lot. Like, I can't even imagine at someone like Pace's level to 100,000 or something.
Yeah.
He's at like 260,000. And once you get to that level, you can get basically anything you'd ever need from social media, right? You can like promote products and just Pace, if you wanted to, you just turn off everything and just promote other people's products and make a ridiculous amount of money, right? So I love it. It's pretty fun, cool too. Like, it's kind of fun being in the spotlight and doing random IG reels and YouTube videos and stuff like that. But also, it brings you so much to your business. It brings you everything you need. It brings you credibility, right? People who work for me are willing to work for me for less because I have the credibility and they know they're going to learn a lot from me, right? So I guarantee everyone should be doing a post a week post a day, in my opinion. I don't think that would be that hard, and you will see that it will give you dividends.
What do you think about the imposter syndrome thing, or, the talking from the authority when there's no real evidence that you have it?
You know something.
Yeah.
If you literally never done a deal, never talked to a seller, then what you post is, here's my first cold call ever. Watch me fuck it up. That's what you post, right? Just really be real, be honest. And like, if you really have no idea what you're doing, be like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Watch me figure it out live. So you don't have to, right? That's what I would recommend. No one's doing that. 0 people are starting from ground zero and recording everything. I wish I had done it. I wish I had the mentality of it. I didn't. I started when I had already been doing deals. But if you start before you ever do any deals, you're going to have such a head start. I highly recommend people do social media, not just for them, but also you got to think about it like this. This is something Pace told me and a bunch of other people. And this is what threw me over the edge was, you are actually committing a crime against humanity by not teaching people or posting about things that could potentially be making others tens of thousands of dollars a year. Your idiocracy, your stupidity for not being brave enough to put out what you know to the world that could be making people tens of thousands of dollars is costing them tens of thousands of dollars because you're too afraid someone from home is going to judge you. That's when they switched for me. When he said that, I'm like, all right, you're right. I got to do it. So Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. I mean, I'm not as consistent with posting on social media. At times I was with posting clips, my podcast, but even now I'll go on there and try to raise some money. And it's just like already bang, bang, bang. There's a bunch of DMs. People are just looking for something to be a part of. You know, if you provide an opportunity, chances are if 10,000 people see it, that you'll at least get someone asking you about it. So I agree with you. I think it's overlooked by a lot of people. And yeah, I think that's something everyone should do. It's free too. Yeah.
It's free. It's a lot of work when it's free. Like I have a social media manager, he costs money, but like you could do what I'm doing for free and you would be getting so many more resources. It's such a necessary thing to start doing now. If you really want a really successful real estate business for the greatest amount of ROI, it's social media, 100%.
Yeah. Are you implementing AI into your business in any way?
A little bit. I mean, I got the Go High Level system isn't really AI that much, but it has automatic workflows that make it feel like AI a lot of times, like automatic responses and stuff. In terms of like the real AI, like ChatGPT, I mean, everything's based off ChatGPT. That's the only new AI thing, right? ChatGPT I mainly use as a help for social media more than anything else. Social media and contracts. So like I'll have ChatGPT write me up contracts. If there's like a really simple contract I need, not like a super complicated one, I have it write it up for me. If I have ideas of different things that I'm trying to come up, the main thing I've been using it for is coming up with social media ideas of like what to do reels on. I would say those are the main two ways I've been using it so far. There are probably other ways I could be using it too. Like if I wanted to give it, like if there was a certain response to a realtor, I wanted 5 different ways of saying that, could probably ask ChatGPT, but you know,
Okay.
just haven't.
Now, with the real estate business that you have and the systems you put in place, is the plan for you or your goals to scale that and then have some big exit and sell it, or are you going to keep it, or is this a means to get to another vector in real estate? Like, what do you see the end all be all for you?
The 10-year goal is $50 million in active income. That can be wholesaling. That could be flipping. I doubt it'll be flipping. That'll be social media and different sponsorships and stuff like that. I think it's gonna mainly be wholesaling and social media stuff is the goal. That's the 10-year goal. It's like 50 mil in revenue from just all of that. Then it's going to be a lot of owning properties, 5,000 units within 10 years. I think I can do that or even more, to be honest. It's just, the main thing that's making this one harder than any other one, any other business I ever start ever again, is I didn't have a partner. And you will be, if you have the right partner, you're going to be super blasted to make it like way quicker than if you're just doing it as a visionary or an integrator, right? I'm never starting a business again without an integrator. There has to be a business partner who's going to deal with systems. I can create systems, I can do it, but me being the visionary and the integrator right now takes up literally all my time. So my biggest immediate goal right now is make enough revenue where I feel okay hiring a COO. That's number one goal right now, is hire a COO, get that freaking rolling. And if I trust it and they're actually able to maintain the operations and kind of help start hiring people to grow the business and start doing stuff like that, then and maybe we'll hire managers or whatever we need to do, but then we're really going to be hitting it. And then I can focus on doing other things, like starting to build, like buy and hold companies and stuff like that. But I still need an integrator for those as well.
Yeah, totally. That, like, how do you spend your time right now, to kind of go off of that topic? Are you like, how much of your time is spent generating revenue, like money making activities? How much of your day do you dedicate
Very
to that?
little, probably like 2 hours. I'm trying to make it zero. I
Yeah.
should not be doing that anymore. That should be my acquisition managers. I was doing it and I realized I was coming from a fear-based place that I wasn't trusting my acquisition managers to be able to do it. So I have a couple leads still, but really I should just be their coach 24/7. And I should not be doing any revenue generating activities anymore. I should be managing everything and making sure that their shit is going well, so they're generating revenue. And then I should be doing things like podcasts, creating systems, doing new projects. I'm gonna start me and you know Munif Sasa? You ever heard of him?
Yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah.
He's another student of Pace's. We're gonna start a mastermind. That's gonna be in August, right? There's all sorts of, I want to be starting to do new projects that bring in more money, but like I just need to get enough revenue so the COO can run this, and then we'll keep going.
Yeah. What do you think about money in general, like as a concept? I think it's almost trendy to be like, money isn't important, money doesn't matter, money doesn't buy happiness, all those things that you're fed from a young age. Like, from my perspective, money fixes almost all of it, and then the rest, it leaves you with what's actually important. How do you value money, and like, what's your relationship to money? Is it like the biggest priority for you? Do you think spending it on nice things, like what does that look like for you? Does that make sense? You kind of see where I'm?
100%. Money 100% buys happiness. You're just buying the wrong things. If you spend your money on charities, on helping other people, on creating mentorships or creating things that actually make people make tens of thousands of dollars, and then they send you DMs thanking you so much that now they can feed their children, or that you gave like $10,000 to a rescue charity, that shit buys you happiness. Money does buy you happiness, but it's by giving it away or by creating something that makes it where other people are able to change their lives and transform their lives. I grew up on the money is the root of all evil, but it's the love of money is the root of all evil. It's being attached to money is the root of all evil. Being attached to the nice shit in your house. I always want to be able and be totally content with a computer, a shitty apartment, and mac and cheese, right? Like that should be all I need to survive and be chilling. The nice stuff is just an added bonus, but the goal is your why. Why are you doing this? Money lets you achieve everything you could want. It's the best of all worlds. You get to have a nice life, give way more than you ever would if you didn't have any money, and then also be able to change your community or even create a community like Pace does, right? So I think people's relationships with money is toxic, and it's sad. It's a cope, really, when you hear something like that. It's like being like, it's not everything because I don't have everything, or it's because I don't have any, right? And money isn't everything. You need relationships, right? But it's a huge part of life that's completely necessary, is getting your money right. I think it's like 100, like if it didn't mean anything, then you wouldn't be worried about it so much.
Yeah, and in my mind, like it doesn't mean anything, and that's why you need to make it not mean anything. Like, the only reason most people get out of bed at 6 a.m. is so that they can go trade their time for $12 an hour, so that they can have a place to live and a place and food to eat. To me, that's making money everything. How about create a skill or provide a value that generates an excess of money, so now you don't have to worry about it anymore. Now it is meaningless because it's easier to acquire. That's kind of a frame that I think makes more sense, but most people don't see it that way. But,
I agree.
wanted to ask you, let's see, the next thing, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, I wanted to, one more thing on the money. Do you think as you've got more of it, that how has that affected your stress or your, like, because I think once you cover the basic needs, then you kind of start thinking about different things. How has the income correlated with your lifestyle? Do you spend more time doing things that you want to do, or do you just spend more time trying to make more money? Like, how do you use the money to change your life?
This is what I want to do. I love making businesses. There's nothing else I'd rather be doing now. It's funny how it works. Is like you get into entrepreneurship for the money, and then you get a bunch of money and you're like, damn, but I love the business. Why would I do anything else all day? I don't even understand what, like, that's the thing, is I love the game so much that it's like, why even stop, right? There was an interesting point last quarter of last year, we didn't make any money because I was too comfortable with where we were. We were like, had made a lot of money earlier. I was like, you know what, 250K to Jonah, that's pretty nice. I'm chilling. I don't really have to do anything. Everyone will figure stuff out, right? And we didn't bring in any money, right? So that created, like, I still obviously was profitable for the year, but like it was less than that because of it, right? And it could have been a lot more if I hadn't taken my gas pedal off. So I'm really glad that happened where I didn't make any money that quarter, because it would have been stressful. Or I'm sorry, it reminded me that I don't need to be stressed, but I always need to be on it. I need to be acting as though I'm broke, and constantly trying to do more, right? So that's the only thing that kind of negatively affected me by having a lot of money. Having a lot of money is cool. It's not, I don't have a lot of money. Like there's like there are levels to this, right? I have a lot of money compared to 90% of the population, but then there's like millionaire. I'm not a millionaire yet. I don't own $1 million. Unless you count company, maybe you could consider me a millionaire, but like my company, I couldn't sell my company right now. And so because of that, I'm probably worth like a third of $1 million. You just took my cash reserves, my equity in my houses, and savings and stuff like that. But there are people who have $1 million in the bank account, right? And then there are people who have tens of $1 million in the bank account. So there are levels to this, things of like different stresses, right? I just have a lot of money compared to most people my age, but I would be poor if I was 50, probably. I would be considered poor, right? So I don't know. I don't even consider myself rich yet. I consider myself like killing it, but not like rich. So I don't know. I still got a long way to go myself.
Something I've heard before is the amount of stress that you can handle correlates pretty clearly with the amount of income that you can make or the amount of money you can have. How do you handle stress, or how do you frame, what's your mental model for stress? What are some effective ways that you've been able to run a business and navigate
I would
some
say
of the
the
stressors?
most useful thing someone ever said to me in revolving stress with business is, it is going to happen, whatever you're stressed about. There are deals that are going to fall through. At some point, if I want to be a multi-millionaire, I'm going to get sued. It's going to happen. It's not like it's not like when, it's not if it'll happen, it's when it'll happen. So when you treat things like a when you keep the stresses like a when, like they have to happen in order for you to achieve their goals, this is actually a prerequisite for you being successful. It becomes a lot less stressful, because it's like, oh, there's nothing I can do about that. I just need to operate with whatever I've got right now, right? I shouldn't be worried about whether I'm going to get sued or not. I might get sued, I might not get sued. Either way, I just got to deal with it and move forward. Hey, there was no money for 3 months. Well, that fucking sucks. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? We're going to fire everyone? What do we need to do? Like, do we need to go back to square one? I don't know. Like, let's just figure it out where it doesn't really matter. I know always I will have the skill set where if everything went wrong, I could fire everyone, get rid of all my software, and just start cold calling agents. if I need to and make $500,000 a year. I'm very confident I could do that if I needed to, right? I don't want to do that, but once you do it, that's also why I don't suggest people hire before they've done like a lot of deals, because I'm fully confident I could do that for the rest of my life if I had to. It's not the life I want, it's not the lifestyle I want, but if necessary, I'll do that, right? So I'd say that was the best one. It's like, think about it. If you want to be a billionaire, you need to you're going to lose hundreds of millions easily. I've only lost, I say I've lost a couple 100,000, and that's why I've only made probably like $1 million in my whole wholesaling career, right? So
yeah, that's awesome. That was a good answer. Yeah, I had a deal last week where I got a piece of land under contract at 65,000. Within 2 days, I assigned it to somebody at 95,000. Had
nice.
it all in escrow, ready to go, just waiting for the title report to come back. And he had a bunch of liens and stuff, but we already knew about all that. And then like 3 days before closing, the title company calls me and says that he sold it to somebody else. He had already been under contract with somebody else, and like that one closed before mine did.
That's crazy. That's
So
rough.
it's like
Shit
30K.
happens.
Just got to chalk it up. Like I had the opportunity to lose 30K is the way I'm thinking about it.
It's also that never happen. Things like that don't happen with agents either. That's the cool thing, is like agents make sure things happen by the book and people aren't committing like illegal stuff like that, which I like as well. That's another pro to agents.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so as we're getting close to the end here, you were kind of alluding to this a little bit. I always like to play this game where drop you in the middle of the country, you get nothing but your phone, maybe a laptop, go make some money. How are you doing it?
Is there any time limit, or can I just do whatever I want?
I would say,
like, do I have a budget? How much money do I got?
Okay,
like $0 or like $1 or like a couple thousand?
You have your basic needs covered. Like you have enough for rent. The housing is provided for you.
Just tell me for my business. How much do I got for my business?
You have $1,000
total or a month? Just our total.
Total, and you have 3 months, or there's a nuke that gets dropped on your state and everything dies. You got 3 months.
I would first start by finding a dispo wholesaler or a couple buyers in whatever market I want to do, who are doing tons of deals. They're proving to me they've done tons of deals, right? That's number one. That should be day one. You find that. Day one, also find a title company, right, that can do assignments. Then I would basically be talking to the dispo and be like, okay, you're doing like a deal a week, or you're doing like a couple of deals a month. Great. I'm going to give you everything exclusively. If you give me a probably if you're desperate, 50-50, but I do it usually 75-25, something like that, as that's what I'd negotiate as an acquisitions. That's day one. Day two is I would then go onto brokerage websites, download, get as many real estate agents. Get as many real estate agents as numbers as possible, along with as many real estate agents in different areas, like all the things I mentioned before. Prop stream, I probably would save the money. I wouldn't do prop stream. I probably would do the brokerage list. I would add people on Facebook. I'd Facebook friend a lot of people and message them. And then the one thing I would pay for is probably like REI Reply, because REI Reply is based off the Go High Level system, but it's $50 a month. And then I would set up texting campaigns to text to all these realtors. And then I would follow up with them every 2 weeks, and I would have a deal within 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That sounds like a good plan, man.
Yeah, and I'd probably only spend like $200 to be real. That's what I would do now since I specialize in realtors. I like realtors too because it's just simpler and it's just really based on the dispo wholesaler and having their stuff in order.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, man, the agent thing just, it really seems like there's a lot of upside to it.
There's a lot of upside. There's some downside too. I would say the downside, I gotta get my camera to stop moving. I'd say the downside is basically that you can't, it's a lot harder to do creative financing unless like they won't do creative financing with you unless they have to, right?
Yeah.
And I would say that's the main downside, actually. I feel like everything else is great about it. I think it's so much easier than direct to seller. Direct to seller, you get bigger deals. That's true. You get usually bigger deals. But I think agent outreach is just such a better, more sustainable business model in the end. I think direct to seller, you have to spend so much on marketing that it's like, I don't know. I like it. I would rather, if I was going to do direct to seller, my outreach method would be JVing. I would find a bunch of newer wholesalers and I would just help them out and then close their deals for them. I do that actually. I don't do that like I don't have it systematized, but people hit me up from things like this. I help them close deals and then we close deals and make money together, just depending, right? So yeah.
Cool. Well, awesome, man. To end this off, what's a book you recommend?
Just any book.
Any book? Oh, yeah. No,
I'm asking you.
Yeah, just
okay.
any real.
I mean,
any book in general. Leave it open.
I mean, my classic and my favorite book of all time, it's a classic, is How to Win Friends and Influence People. I feel like that was my first self-help book, and that was my first introduction to like how the art of persuasion. There's so many good books. I just like that one because no matter who you are, no matter what you do, you don't even have to be a business owner, but that's just like a book that will serve you in life about how to get what you want from people, and do it in a moral way.
Yeah.
There's just so many good books. Like Rocket Fuel is great for businesses to understand the difference between a visionary and an integrator. Traction by the same author is a great one if you're ready to start scaling. Never Split the Difference is a great one if you want to learn about negotiation. Depends on what you want to learn about, in my opinion. Right? In terms of generalities, How to Win Friends and Influence People is probably every human being on earth should read that. While the other books I mentioned, only business owners should read. So it just depends.
Awesome. Sounds good, man. Well, listen, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. I think you provided a lot of value. I learned a lot, so I appreciate all that info. Where can people find you? What's your social media?
Follow me if you want to if you want to directly reach out to me, follow me at Jonah_Korchin. I'm the one with the blue check mark. Add me on YouTube. I'm starting to release content there. I have my podcast, Scorch the Fears. It's usually Thursday, 5 p.m. PST. I think this week it might be a little bit off because of just I'm going to be traveling. But then I'm going to start putting a lot of content out there. Easily the best way to reach out to me is on Instagram. Just send me an Instagram DM. I'll answer unless you just ask me something really dumb or stupid. But like I'll answer almost anybody's stuff. Those are the two things you should reach out for. Definitely Instagram is going to keep you updated on other stuff I'm doing, like masterminds. I'm about to start a mastermind, like I said, with Munif. That's in August. We need to get a few things ready before I start selling tickets or anything like that. But that's going to be really cool. So yeah, I would say that's how you guys should reach. YouTube is my name. So just look up Jonah Korchin. You're going to find me. It's my face. It's this face. It's the guy with this face.
Sounds good, man. All right, everybody. Jonah Korchin, get wealthy.